Hi kids, today is June 13th, Saturday. It's literally the last 20 minutes of the day. We were at a birthday party in our neighborhood, a friend's birthday. It was really nice. It was one of those evenings where the whole community gets together. We see each other quite often anyway, but it's always nice to spend time together outside our usual routines. I should also confess something. I'm actually a little tipsy. One of our friends made a fantastic cocktail, something close to a whiskey sour. Anyway, today's lesson isn't about cocktails. It's about something that today's events reminded me of. There's one skill, one quality if you prefer, that quietly sits beneath many of the other qualities we admire in people. We talk a lot about confidence, leadership, discipline, resilience, patience, wisdom, good decision-making. But there's one skill that makes almost all of those possible. And strangely enough, we rarely teach it directly. That skill is emotional regulation. Now, because of your age and the stage of your brain's development, you're naturally going to struggle with emotional regulation more than adults do. That's completely normal, although, to be fair, many adults struggle with it just as much. Emotional regulation doesn't mean suppressing your emotions. It doesn't mean pretending you're not angry, disappointed, excited, afraid, frustrated, or sad. Quite the opposite. It means becoming aware of what you're feeling without immediately becoming controlled by it. It means creating a small space between what happens to you and how you respond. That tiny space makes an enormous difference. It shapes your decisions, your relationships, your reputation, and ultimately, your life. Think about it. When someone criticizes you, you can pause before defending yourselves. When you're angry, you can choose your words instead of letting your emotions choose them for you. When you're disappointed, you can acknowledge the feeling without allowing it to define your entire day. Sometimes, you can even choose to let it go. Life will always give you reasons to react. People will be unfair. Plans will fail. You'll make mistakes. Others will disappoint you. And perhaps most painfully, you'll disappoint yourselves from time to time. That will happen. So the question isn't whether you'll experience strong emotions. You absolutely will. You're human. The real question is this: will your emotions become your master or your messenger? Will they control you? Or will they simply give you information that helps you respond wisely? There's a very important difference. Whenever you notice yourselves becoming overwhelmed, try something very simple. Pause, even if it's only for a few seconds. Then ask yourselves, what am I feeling right now? What is this emotion trying to tell me? Which value is being challenged here? And finally, what would my best self choose to do in this moment? You won't get it right every time. Neither do I. Neither does anyone else. But every single time you pause before reacting, you're strengthening a muscle that will serve you for the rest of your life. And here's why I think emotional regulation is so important. It's rarely the final skill. It's the skill underneath the skill. It's the foundation that allows other abilities to function when life becomes difficult. Think about leadership. A leader needs to remain calm during uncertainty, not because they never feel afraid, but because other people borrow their composure instead of absorbing their panic. Think about negotiation. The best negotiators don't simply try to win arguments. They regulate their emotions long enough to search for the best outcome for everyone involved. Think about parenting. Today's events actually reminded me of this. Being a good parent often means responding to a child's difficult behavior without allowing your own frustration to dictate your actions. Trust me, that's much harder than it sounds. The same is true for teaching, coaching, public speaking, conflict resolution, sales, marriage, friendships, driving, even creative work. Technical ability alone is rarely enough. A surgeon may know exactly what to do, but if panic takes over, performance suffers. An investor may understand the markets brilliantly, but fear and greed can erase decades of knowledge in a matter of minutes. That simple ability to pause, reflect, and then choose your response improves almost every area of life. Because life won't test you when you're calm and comfortable. It'll test you when you're tired, embarrassed, angry, afraid, overwhelmed, disappointed. And in those moments, emotional regulation stops being a nice skill to have. It becomes a superpower. And I mean that almost literally. Take professional athletes. Researchers have consistently found that the very best athletes aren't simply faster or stronger. They process information differently. Let's use tennis as an example. The ball travels far too quickly for elite players to rely on reflexes alone. Studies have shown that professional players begin predicting what's about to happen before the opponent even hits the ball. They unconsciously notice tiny clues: the grip, the shoulder rotation, the body position, the score, previous patterns. And they use that tiny fraction of a second to anticipate what's coming next. In one study, elite players consistently outperformed lower-level players in anticipation tasks. Another fascinating training method involves showing players video clips that stop just before the racket makes contact with the ball. The players then have to predict where the shot is going. The professionals are dramatically better. Why? Because average players see, then react. Elite players observe, predict, position themselves, and then respond. That tiny fraction of a second changes everything. And I don't think that's true only in tennis. I think it's true in life. Many people live almost entirely through reflexes. Something happens, they react. Criticism, defensiveness, stress, anger, disagreement, attack, uncertainty, panic. But the people we admire most usually do something different. They create a tiny gap, stimulus, pause, response. Within that tiny space, they ask themselves, what's actually happening here? What are my options? Which response gives me the best long-term outcome? That tiny pause changes everything. I want that for you. Not because I want you to be better than other people. Life isn't a competition. I want it because I want you to live your best possible life. And I genuinely believe that learning to pause before reacting will improve almost everything you ever decide to do. So if there's only one thing I want you to remember from today's conversation, it's this. Create a little space between what happens to you and how you respond. Sometimes your future will be decided in that tiny gap. And don't ever forget, I love you both very, very much.